हेलो। Okay, hello everyone. So let's start. I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay. All right. So what we'll do is let me give you a brief heads up what we are going to cover today. All right. So this is our session number 3 and this will be on ES6. I will say second session on ES6. All right. Okay. So till our last session, we have covered few features which have been implemented in ES6, right? And this session is also going to be on ES6. We'll cover some more features which are latest in ES6. All right. So what we'll do is we'll quickly start. So what we are going to cover today, we are going to cover today's set. Then we'll look at map. And then we'll look at iterators, maybe. And then we'll look at class and their accessors. Then we'll look at inheritance. All right. And also we'll go through rest parameters and spread. That's pretty much agenda for today's session. All right. So you might be seeing that I'll be teaching few of the topics upfront, and I'll be, you will say, I'll be keep moving few topics for the future sessions so that they will be logically related and we'll cover them wherever it makes more sense. Okay, because that doesn't make sense to teach you a topic which you don't understand right this point of time. All right, so we'll do like that only. We'll see whatever makes sense for now, we'll cover that. All right, so let's quickly start. So we'll not go through this slide. I just directly jump to the code. So our first topic, which is set. All right, so set is also a very important topic and a ES6 feature which is just implemented, which is just given by ES6, right? So till now you must have seen set in Java. Those who are from Java background, they must be knowing that there is something called a set in Java, right? So this set was not present earlier in JavaScript, right? So ES6 has come up with the concept of set. So how you create a set? You create a set by, let's take a variable by let. I say my set equals new set. Okay. So this is how you create a set. All right. So what is a set? a set is a, you can say, a data structure which basically stores the values of any type. Okay, so values can be a primitive value or it can be a object value as well. Okay, so primitive value means, what is a primitive value? Like number, uh, string maybe, boolean, right? So all these are what? Primitive values only, right? So a set can store primitive values as well as objects. Okay, so let's see how to work on a set. Let's suppose you want to add some values in a set. So how will you add it? You are having a function called as set. So my set dot add. So the function name is add in set. So add is a function using which you can add values inside a set. All right. Let's suppose you want to add a boolean integer value 1, right? Then you want to add a boolean value, maybe true or false. Let's check true. Okay. And then you want to add a string value. Let's say string. Okay. So what you have done? You have added 3 primitive type values in a set. Okay. So let's run this code in the Chrome console. I copy this and I paste it here and I press enter. So what it has returned us? It has returned a set, right? Which is consisting of 3 values. First one is 1, then true, and then a string, right? So my set is having 3 different types of values. It may contain an object as well, right? So how to add an object? My set dot add, right? Let's suppose you want to add an object which contains some key value pair. Let's say Bangalore, and I press enter. You can see now set is having 4 values. First one is a number, then a boolean, a string, as well as a object. All right. So this is how you create a set. Okay. So set is something you can say it's like a array only, but the difference is like there are different functions available in array. So there are different functions available in a set as well. Okay. Now let's try to do one thing. My set dot add, and then I try to enter 1. Okay. So what you see here, when you added 1 in my set, as you can see, earlier also we were having a value 1 inside the set. But now when we again try to add value 1 in that particular set, what is it doing? It is not allowing us to add, right? Or you can say it will replace the existing one. So a set is a unique. It takes only unique values. All right. So that's answers your one of the questions which I got in ping, that then why, what is the difference? So array can contain duplicates, but set does not contain any duplicate values. All right. So if you try to add a duplicate, then it will not actually throw an error, but you can say it will replace it, replace the existing one. So it will always have the unique values in the set. All right. Yes, you can use username for set. What is use of a set? Use of a set as in it is a data structure just like an array. If you want to store a lot of stuff, let's suppose some set of values, you can use set, but they should be unique. And it will check the duplicate data type as well, yes. Okay. You cannot convert an array to a set because array can contain duplicates. All right. Now comes the different methods which we have in a set. All right. So first one is a has method using which you can find whether a value is present or not. Okay. So there is a function called as has. Let's suppose I use my set dot has. Okay. So what it will give you? It will find whether this value is present in the set or not. If it is present, then it will return you true. Otherwise, it will return you false. All right. So my set was having this value, right? My set is having a value 1. So that is why my set dot has returned as true, right? Let's suppose I try to find a value which is not present there. Let's suppose 2, right? Since sorry, I have to use dot has, right? So my set dot has 2 will return you false because it tries to find the value 2 in the set, but value 2 is not present anywhere in this set, right? So that is why it has returned as false. So using has function, you can find whether a value is present there or not. All right. Then comes the size function, size property. So my set is having a property called as size, using which you can get the size of the set. All right. So if I want to know what is size of the set, then I can directly use a property. It's not a function. So size is not a function, it is a property, which basically keeps a count of number of properties present in the set. So if I run this, it will return us 4, right? Why is it returning 4? Because there are 4 properties present. First one number, second one boolean, third one string, and fourth one is a object. So these are 4 values present in a set. Now there is a function called as delete. If you want to delete one of the values, then what you can do is you can use myset dot delete function. So delete is the function which takes one argument, and what it takes in the argument, it takes the value, right? All are values only, right? And they are unique. Okay, since they are unique, that is why we are able to use delete function, right? If duplicates are there, then you will not be able to use delete function because it will not be able to find which value you want to delete, right? Because there can be multiple values. Let's suppose I delete this boolean value true from the set. Okay, so it has returned, okay, this is successfully deleted. Now if I find my set dot size, right, then it returns us 3 because one value which was the boolean is deleted from the set. That is why only 3 is printed, because there are only 3 items in the set. Okay, so you can use set in ES6. All right. So set is one of the good features, I will say, which ES6 has given, and it is more like a Java set. If you guys are aware of Java, set was already present there. So ES6 has also come up with the concept of set. All right. Similarly, the ES6 has also come up with the map. Okay. Before going to map, I will tell you one more thing. How you can iterate over the set, right? Let's suppose you want to iterate over this data collection. So I'll write code here. So you have put three entries in the set, right? Now you want to iterate over it. Okay. So what you can do, there is a function called as for each. myset dot for each is the function using which you can iterate over this set. And it takes one function as the argument, which again takes a argument. Okay. So this argument will be containing each value one by one. Okay. And then I can just print them. Console.log value. Okay. So for each is a function which is on set. Okay. Using which you can iterate over the set. All right. Just like if you are having a normal array, let's suppose I create an array, right? In any language, let it be C, it can be Java, right? So how you iterate over this? You simply write a for loop and then you create a variable I equals to 0, I less than array dot length, and then you write I plus.
ES6 provides for each function for array also, right? You told the other day, no?
For each on a
Array
array.
in ES6?
Array, I have to see, maybe yes.
Okay.
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 So just like this, you iterate in any language, it's a generalized code, right? A C or Java, whatever, right? So similarly for set, you are having a for each function using which you can iterate over this set. Okay, so let's just paste this code in the console and see what is the value printed. So I just paste it and I press enter. Okay, it says my set is not defined. Yeah, we have to define it, right? So I say, okay, let me just refresh, and I forgot to add this line as well. So I paste it like this. You can see now it is returning each value one by one. So this console.log statement is printing each value one by one. One, then true, and then string. Okay. So this is how you can iterate over a set. Now let's move on to map. So what is a map? A map is nothing but a key value pair. Okay. Like set was taking only a value. But
Excuse me.
yep.
How to access an object from a set? How to access individual values from a set? Will it work same as arrays in other languages?
No.
Can we use indexes to
No, there is
access?
no index. There is no index.
Then what would be the process to access an element from a set defined?
Yeah, you have to iterate over that only.
It's only using for each loop we have to iterate through the elements.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can even go through like this, right? So if you use dot, it will give you the list of whatever functions or properties available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
And
you
for
can see using keys, you can find the keys. Using value, you can find all the values.
mm-hmm. Okay, so we have different functions and different properties available for all the sets, right? Which we create in future.
Right.
Yeah, one small doubt here. You said the add function, wherein we can add individual elements to a set.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you said it will also check for the different data types in the set while we are adding.
It will not check. It can take any data type.
It can take any, means if we add one numeric value, we can also add another numeric value to the same set, is it?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, thank you, got cleared.
Only the value should not be the same. Like you cannot add one value which is one. You cannot
Mhm.
add numeric one twice.
Okay. So, but the data type can be repeated.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Since they are unique, right? So a set is nothing but a unique set of values. That's it. It can be
Okay.
same data type. It can be different data type. No matter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's talk about map now. So what is
Hello.
map? Yes.
Hello. So, just one
Yes.
question with respect to the index in set. How can we access, insert, or delete any value at a particular index in the set?
That you can't.
So every time, like if I'm containing a set of 10 values, and if I need only a particular value from the set, how will I access that?
You have to iterate over the set only.
But for getting one value, how much feasible will it be to access the set of 100 values or 10 values when I need only a particular value to work upon?
Yeah, you have to iterate over that only. If you already know the value, then you can get it like from the values, right? So my set dot values will return you. Okay. Is it not having any values right now? Okay, it's a function. So it will basically give you the complete set of values function.
But here, if I just say I need the string variable, I need the
Mhm.
value of the string.
But that is a
Say
value itself.
that's right. But if suppose I'm containing a set, okay, and which contains first name, middle name, and last name of the whole class. So I want to know the first name of each student. So how, can't I iterate in the set with the first index itself?
No, it is not index based. That is what. A set is not index based. For that purpose, you will use an array,
Okay.
right? And even if you will add three properties of a single entity, let's suppose a single person, right?
Mhm.
Then you will be adding object at every location. You will be adding an object, not a primitive value.
Even if we add an object at a particular index, so how will I be able to access that particular object? Because
Yeah, for your functionality,
that
set
will,
doesn't
yeah.
suit. Set is not a right candidate, right data structure for what you are telling.
So where will be like when
Either
would
you
I
use
should
a
I prefer the
array,
set?
either you use a array or you use a map.
Okay, so when should I use the set over any array?
Set not over array. Array and
Uh,
you array and set is completely different data structures.
mm,
A set can contain multiple data types,
mm.
but they should be unique. So it is just to store the information and get the information. That's it.
That's right, but it's similar to array. The only thing is it has unique values. But if it is similar to array, we can access each element individually in an array. We can store it, we can manipulate it. But in a set,
Right, you
if
can.
we are going to access the whole set at each time, it won't be
Mhm.
feasible when I'm storing
Right,
a set of 50 values. So what is the
right. For
advantage of set of over array or any situation where it will be more feasible to use a set?
okay. So basically, what I see is they are unique only. So if you want to store IDs, then you use set.
I
Let's
can use
suppose
an
there are
array.
IDs only.
I can use an
Yeah,
array. What is the advantage of using set over array?
yeah. That is what they store unique values. You
Even
will
array
never be
can
able
store.
to add. Yeah, array can
Even,
store. If yes,
yeah.
you can use the array. It's not a foundation that you have to use a set. But array can contain duplicate values as well. But if you want only unique values to be stored, then you will use set.
Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Now let's move on to the map. So what is a map? A set takes only value, right? But using map, you can add the key value pairs. Okay. So how you will add into a map? Let's first create a map and then we will add values to map. So how you create a map? By taking a variable name, my map maybe equals new map. All right. And after that, what you can do is you can use a function called as set, and then you have to add key value pairs in the map. Let's suppose key can be 1 and a value can be, let's suppose, a string 1. All right. And then you can set another value which may be 2 and value is string 2, like this. Okay. So map is what? It is a key value pair. Unlike set, set only takes key. Oh, sorry, value. However, map can take a key value pair. So let's copy this and I run it here. All right. So we got a map which is having a key whose value is 1. We are having a key 2 whose value is 2. Okay. So map is got the capability to store the key as well. Okay. Now in this case, what you can do is you can get the value by key. Let's suppose you want to get a particular or you want to reach one particular location, right? So what you can do is you can use a function called as get. Okay, so you use my map dot get, and what you will pass to it, you will pass the key. Let's suppose you want to get this second entry, right? So I will pass 2, which is the key, and I press enter. You can see it returns you the value. Okay, so using a map, you can store key value pairs and also you can get the one particular tuple using the by knowing its key. Okay, similar to set, it also have a function called as for each. So I use my map dot for each. All right, and it will take one function. Oops, I pressed enter. Okay, let's write it here. So my map dot for each, and it will take a function. All right, and it will take 2 parameters, which is value and the key. Okay, and then I can print each one, right? So for printing, I will use the backtick syntax. Okay, and how will I print? We print by dollar and curly braces, right? So I first print the key and then I print the, I give some string, whatever it is, and then I print the value. Okay, so now I just copy this and I'll run it here. All right, so you can see it is printing 1 and then its value 1, key 2 and its value 2. All right, so if you want to iterate over a map, you can use for each function. Okay, and how will you get the size of a map? Similarly, you can get a size of a map by using a property called as size. Okay, so if I say my map dot size, it will give you the size. So there are 2 entries in the map, it returns you true 2, sorry. Okay. And also there is one more thing which is called as the how will you get the keys, right? Let's suppose you want to know all the keys present in the set, sorry, a map. So what you will use? You will use mymap dot keys. Right. So you can see it gives you list of keys 1 and 2. Okay. Yeah. So difference between set and map will be what? A set is nothing but just a set of values, right? But a map is what? A map is a set of key value pairs. You cannot access one particular location from a set, but you can get a particular location by knowing its key. No, sorting is not possible in a set because it's not an array, or sorry, it's not array because it is not having the data structure of similar type, right? You cannot sort 1 and true. Okay. So keys will always return you the set of keys whatever were present in the map. Now you can also get the values. Using values you will get the set of all the values. Okay, so string 1 and string 2 were the values which we got, and numeric 1 and numeric 2 were the keys. Okay, so this is about a map. All right, next comes is the weak map. So weak map is a new concept, and
Rachit,
yes,
excuse me. Before you go further, I just wanted to clarify one thing. In a map, we are using a set function to add key value pairs to the map, right?
right.
With one set function, can't we add multiple key value pairs to the map within one step? I mean to say, using multiple set functions will take lots of lines of code. Instead of that, can't we use only one set function to add multiple key value pairs to a map?
Oh, so you want to add multiple of them by using only one.
Yeah. Can that be done?
Okay, we can try that. So I hope I haven't cleared it. Yeah, we haven't. So mymap.set, and but my question is how will you add it? Let's suppose I want to add like this 1 and 2. So 1 will be the key and 2 will be the value. And next, how will you do it?
That is what is my question.
Let's suppose you add 3, 4. So what it has done? It has just taken first. Yeah, so it has just taken first two values. 3 and 4 is ignored, right? So you can see here 1 is replaced. Earlier this 1 was having value what? It was having one value, string value like this one,
String value. Yeah.
right? But now it is replaced by this numeric 2. That's it. So what you can do is you can loop over the structure.
Okay, so we cannot write one set function now.
No. You have to loop over. You have to use a for loop maybe, and using a for loop, then you can enter this mymap.set, and whatever the index you use, whatever the value you use, you can set that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So weak map. So
But
all
here,
these
how can we? Hello.
yes.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you said we can use the looping to assign the values. Key, we can use the looping to assign the key values, multiple key values.
Yeah.
Right, but if we are to assign the multiple key, like for numeric 1, if I need 1 and 2 for 2, so how will I be looping it when each time the values are different?
Yeah, in that case you can't. But let's suppose your
Then
case is something like you want to add something where I equals to 0, I less than 99 maybe, and I plus plus. Okay, and it's like this.
yeah,
And then you want to add something like my map dot set of what? I comma I plus plus. In this
okay,
case, you can use this. If you, what it will give you a key value pair 0 comma 1, and next will be 1 comma 2, next will be 2 comma 3, like this.
but that ultimately won't solve my problem. Like which we are doing it by individual statement. If I want to do the same thing for 10 objects, 10 values, I need to write the 10 statements for it.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. If you do not have a continuous pattern, then you have to.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I don't see any advantage in using set or map, because it's more of a tedious of assigning and then using the individual value. It's more of a tedious job instead of easing our thing.
No, but what array gives you, array does not give you, allow you to give a key of your own, right? You cannot add a key which you want to
Yeah,
store.
fine. That's one thing, that there is not uniqueness in the array, but at least to access the individual, I can work on individual component value of the array, whether insert it to access it or to manipulate it. I can do that on an individual basis, and that too with repetitive loops. But that I can do it with sets or map when I'm dealing with a database of 1,000 values.
Yeah, that you anyways can do. You can do it. You pick your data structure according to your need, right? So what ES is giving you, ES is giving you a set of features, a set of data structures which they can provide you. Now it is your choice where what fits your need.
That's fine. They are giving a feature, but today I am taking AngularJS because it's making my work simpler, or
Mhm.
it's making writing simpler, my syntax. But tomorrow, if something more comes up, some more data or some more tedious platform comes up, AngularJS won't work. So the language will be taking the next version to simplify the things. So if I'm moving on from array to set or map, it should simplify the thing, or at least do the same thing that array does, which it is not doing. It's doing something, but it's not useful to us. It's just storing the data, which an array can do.
Right, that's fine, right? But let's suppose now you are having a situation where you really want to add some key value pairs, and key is also something which you will define, and value is also something which you will define.
I can use an array and I can put a check to whether they are unique or not. I can do that.
No, how will you store the key in an array?
Key is
Array
ultimately a
can
value, no?
array can store an object also, right? Object
Yeah.
of arrays, an object array objects will be there, right? In object, we can anyway define the data as key value pairs itself. It's not an individual value when it comes to an object.
Yes, exactly. But if you want to access one particular tuple, you want to access a particular tuple by the ID, you will not be, you have to always go through the index.
Yeah, but we can use the array for that.
Yeah, that is what you have to go by index. But here you are getting the
Actually,
privilege to access a particular value by its
actually, I am not getting the point why we are using set or map.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't think there is any use of set and map in our coding like array and object. Mm,
Even if I want to access particular value in array, I can, if I don't know the index also, I can put a loop and there will be just one condition that okay, fine, on the zero index, if this particular ID comes up, I want to fetch the value. It will be looping over all the 1,000 values, but it will be accessing only one value. It won't be
yeah,
wasting
right.
much of.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add that these are just different data structures which we can use in different scenarios. It's nothing like that array cannot perform this thing or set can perform this thing. So it's entirely depends on the need of the application. I don't think I mean, there is much to discuss about this.
Exactly.
Yes, Sanjay,
That is what
totally
I
agree.
wanted to tell, that it's totally on the need basis. So just now when I was telling set, the question was, now I am not able to access one particular location, right? Now when I'm going to map, when in a set I told that you can iterate over that, right? Now we are coming to map where we have the privilege to access one particular location using its key. Now the question is that we can iterate over that. Yeah, anyways you can do that. There is nothing like one is better over the other.
So just one question.
Even
If
one is
Sanjay,
not, one of them is not a replacement for other. If it was that situation, then they would have deprecated array.
so just one question. I think Sanjay may help me. Like, fine, that set is something that gives its own features. But if I want to, means what is, if you can specify a particular situation where set will be saving my time, or it will be saving some kind of memory with for me, or easy, it will be easy to access as compared to array.
Like you said, a use case scenario for set. I mean, the thing which is coming up in my mind right now is uh, for something unique ID or something. In that case, we can have a set like 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 in database where we set as a primary key. So if we
Yeah.
want something like in JavaScript or ECMAScript, in this case, we can use set over there.
The same thing, if suppose I know a roll number, I want to get the name, I can easily track in the array as well. Key on the index
Yeah,
this on
yes,
column one. Yeah.
you can do that. Whatever you want, you can do on any of the data structures. I mean, there are various ways, right? So it is not like that. It's entirely upon your need, what application you are developing, right? It's not like that array is good or set is good or map is good. Whatever data structure you feel like will be will make your application better performance wise. So where you can use that data structure.
Yeah, right. But for that, I we can use JavaScript. Why we are learning ECMAScript?
Because ECMAScript is giving some advantage to us. That's why we are using it. So similarly, something, yeah, as she said, similarly, some advantage should set or map should give over an array if they are being missed. So,
All
yeah,
right. Maybe now, right now, you guys are not able to see the advantage in set and map, but you will
Yeah.
appreciate it. You will appreciate it once we will use it.
sure. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue the lecture.
Yeah. All right. Now we are talking about the weak map. So what is a weak map? This is a rarely used thing, but yeah, just for the information point of view, you should know that there is one more implementation of map called as weak map. So what weak map does, weak map is, you can say, a wrapper over a map only. I'll not call it a mapper, but just like what you have a map, right? You have a similar thing called as weak map. The only difference which it has is, first thing, it its keys cannot be the primitive values, okay, and it also does not provide its keys to be garbage collected, right? Since a key which is not a primitive, okay, so let's write a key map, weak map here. So I say let my weak map equals new weak map. All right, and now let's try to add a value to my weak map. Let's suppose 1,2. Okay, so let's run this code. All right, so you can see when I try to add a key, a primitive value as a key in a weak map, then it is throwing a error. Okay, let's suppose now I try to create this weak map, or weak map is already created. Now I want to set a object to it, object as its key. All right, then we will be able to set it like this. Okay, so weak map is a map which does not allow any primitive to be set at its key. Only objects can be set as a key in weak map. Okay, and also it does not allow you, it does not prevent the garbage collector to remove the entries from the memory. So if you guys know the garbage collector thing, so garbage collector is the concept where when there is no more reference to a particular memory location, then what it does, it runs the garbage collection. Okay, so garbage collection will start happening and it will start removing the freeing up the memory. Okay, so weak map, basically you can see that weak map only takes objects, right? And objects are the one which takes memory in the heap, right? And garbage collector is the one who basically frees up the heap memory. Okay, so it basically does not allow, or it basically does not prevent the garbage collector to remove its keys as a objects. All right, so this is the concept which I personally says that I don't know why they have created when there are so many limitations, and I don't see much of a use of weak map in real life. Okay, where you do not have one more thing here, you do not have any size property using which you can find the size. Okay, so you cannot determine the length of a weak map. Okay, so that is why I told that weak map is a concept which has come up, but it is just for information purpose. So you may not be require weak map anytime, you may not be using it. Okay, but really you should know that what is a weak map. So from the information point of view, I told that it is a map only, but it takes only objects as its keys. All right, and since there are only objects, it also does not prevent the garbage collector to remove its entries. So garbage collector can remove its entries at any point of time. All right, and also there is no size attribute present there. You can't determine the size of a weak map. All right, so just keep this weak map just for a information point of view. That's it. Okay, now coming to the rest parameters. So rest parameters is something which you will definitely cheer, that rest parameters is something which has come up. So let's see what is meaning of a rest parameter. Let's suppose there was a function called as temp, and it is called by some parameters. Okay, so what happens in this case? This temp function does not accept any parameter from the signature, right? But you pass some parameters from this line number 36. Okay, so if you know that in JavaScript, currently I'm writing the code which is ES5. Okay, so what have used to happen in ES5? Okay, so there was a object called as arguments, and that arguments is the implicit parameter passed to any function. Okay, so if you print here console.log of arguments, okay, then what will happen, it will show you that a array of 4 values will be passed to these arguments. Okay, so this arguments is a implicit object which is passed to any function, and it contains all the arguments which is passed to that particular function. Okay, so if you are thinking that line number 36 will give you an error that there is no function matching this signature, then you are wrong. Okay, I just copy this and I run it here. All right, so you can see it is printing a array of containing the 4 values which are passed as a parameter to the function. Okay, so this is a implicit object which is passed to any function in JavaScript. Okay, so it is an interview question as well. It's a, if there is a function which by signature does not accept any parameter, but you pass some parameters to that function, then how will you access it? Then your answer should be, there is a object whose name is arguments, which is an implicit object passed to any function in JavaScript. Using that arguments object, you can access the arguments. Okay, now this was ES5. This is how you used to do this thing in ES5. All right, so now I will not say the same thing, but quite a similar thing has come up in ES6, and that is called as the REST parameters. Okay, let's suppose there is a function and its name is temp1, which can accept several parameters. Let's suppose a comma b. Okay, and you want to pass more than 2 parameters to this temp1. Let's suppose 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so in this case there is a new syntax which is come up with the REST parameters. Okay, so what it says you can accept all the parameters or the partially the parameters by writing a argument or the formal argument starting with dot dot dot. Okay, so this is a syntax using which you can accept all the remaining parameters. So that is what the topic also says, REST parameters. REST parameters means the remaining parameters. Okay, so what will happen in this case? 1 will go inside A, 2 will go inside B, and 3, 4, and 5. All the 3 parameters will be cached by C. Okay, so to show this, I'll print each of them. Console.log of C. Okay, so let's see what it will print. You can see A is 1, B is 2, and C is a array which is containing the remaining parameters 3, 4, 5. Okay, and there can be only one parameter as well. Let's suppose you want to catch all the 5 parameters in only C, then you can also do that as well. All right, now in this case C will accept all the 5 parameters 1 2 3 4 5 as an array. So this is the case where we are basically doing the same thing what we used to do with the arguments object. Okay, now C is acting as the arguments of ES5. Okay, and this is ES6. So this concept is called as the REST parameters. All right, and this dot 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 wala syntax, this should always be the last parameter. Okay, if you want to write something like this dot 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 C and B comma A, then it is not possible. Okay, I show you this. If you try to do this, then it will start yelling at us. It will say REST parameters must be last formal parameter, right? So this dot 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 C must always be at the last. All right. So this concept is called as rest parameter in ES6. Right? It is useful because it can accept multiple parameters at the same time. All right. Also, it is useful where you do not know how many parameters are going to be accepted by your function. All right. If the number of arguments to be passed to your function is dynamic at the runtime. Right. So that is what this rest parameter concept can achieve. All right. Now coming to our next topic, which is spread. Okay. So spread, I will say, is opposite of rest, right? What we used to do? Yes.
Yeah, here if I want to access just the value 4, how can I do that?
Just the
With the
value
rest,
4.
yeah, with the rest parameter.
What is the syntax you are having this?
Yeah,
Right? Then C is an array.
yes,
And using array index, you can fetch the value 4.
okay.
Okay. Next, coming to spread. All right. So what happens in a spread? Let's suppose you want to pass a number of arguments as an array to a function. Okay. So let's suppose I create a arg and it takes some 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. And you are having a function, let's suppose temp2, and it takes, let's suppose this function temp2. Okay. It takes 5 arguments, A, B, C, D, and E. All right. Now you want to pass these arguments to this function. That means you want to call the temp2 function, right? One way, which is straightforward, what you can do is you can go over each and every index, arg0, arg1, arg of 2, arg of 3, and argument of 4, right? This is simple. This is normal JavaScript, right? What you are doing, you are going by index of this array, each one by one, and then you are passing to this function. Or what you can do is you can directly pass the complete array. You can directly pass this arg array itself to the temp2 function. Okay. And what I do here, I just print. I will print only first 2 values. Let's not print all the values. Okay. So let's see what will happen in this case. I copy this and I just refresh here. When I paste this, okay, what it is doing, it's printing the complete one. All right, sorry, yeah. What using spread, what you can do is you can pass the complete arguments list. Okay. What you have to do is you have to append this. Right. So this using this you can pass the values to the function temp2. Okay. So this is opposite of what we have seen as rest. Okay. Now I will run this code. In our earlier case, we were just passing the array and it was printing A as an array. All the values it has printed as A. Okay. So now I will refresh this. Right. So you can see by using a dot 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 in front of the array, right? Now each and every value of this array, whose name is arg, now 6 will go as in A, 7 will go in B, 8 will go in C, 9 will go in D, and 10 will go in E. Okay, so this is called a spread. Okay, so that means it will spread all the arguments from my array to the each formal argument of the temp function. All right. So these are new things which are coming in ES6. Okay, rest parameters and spread. Okay, and what if there is a mismatch in the arguments? Then what will happen? Simply that value will be lost, right? Let's suppose I just refresh this. I'll write it again, right? Let's suppose I do not pass this E. Okay, so what I did, I am accepting only 4 arguments, but our array is having 5 entries, right? Then in this case, what will happen? Nothing. The 10 value will never be passed. Okay. Or what you can do is let me just refresh once. What you can do is, let's try using a rest as well. Okay, and here I print this D. Here I will remove this. All right. If you have such a case, then you can use both of them at once. You are passing the functions using the spread concept. You are accepting the parameters by using the rest concept. Okay. So this is making your life much easier, that if there is anything happening at the dynamic runtime, right? Let's suppose you do not know how many arguments are going to be passed, right? You can use these concepts of rest and spread. Okay. Coming to our next topic, which is iterator. So what is iterator? As we discussed in a set and in a map as well, you can iterate over a data structure, right? Whether it is a for each loop, whether it's a for loop, all are these. What are these all? These are iterators only. Okay. So what you can do is you can create a iterator of your own as well. Okay, you can write a function. I will not call it as a concept because it is coming from long time. Iterators are there from the years ago, right? For is what? For is nothing but an iterator, right? For iterates over a set of data structure, right? So what you can do is you can create a data iterator of your own. Okay. So what a iterator does? Iterator basically iterates over a data structure, right? Let's suppose we are having a function, right? And I give it a name, maybe my iterator, and it takes one array as its parameter. All right. So I have created a simple function whose name I have given related to iterator, and which takes one data structure as its parameter. Okay. And then let's take one index. Initially we keep it 0. This index will help us to know the location where we are currently. Okay. And then what we will do from this, we will return a function from this function. Okay. What we will return? We will return a function. That function name can be anything, but in general we see that iterators are having a function called as next, right? Using that next function we can iterate the next value, right? So what we do, we write a next function. Okay, so our iterator is returning what? It is returning a function, right? You can see it is returning a complete function from itself, which is having a next function. All right, so we have written a next function. Now what we can do, we can check the length of that particular object, right? Whatever the data structure is passed, we can check its length, right? And we have used one more variable, which was index, right? This index will help us. Okay, if the index, right, index which you have taken is less than whatever the data structure dot length is, right, then what we do, we return a object, right. Now this object can be what? This object can return you something called as a Boolean variable, which will tell you whether the iteration is done or not. Okay, and the value whatever is at particular location. Okay, so it can give you a Boolean which is false, and the value of what? Value of array at which location? At index plus plus location. Okay, else what we will do? We will return that iteration is done. Return a object which says done as true. Right? So what we have done? We have created a iterator of our own. Okay, so what it does? It basically returns you a function called as next, using which you can find the value at each location of the data structure you are passing to this. Okay, so what we will do, we will use it. Let's suppose there is an array. I create an array, right? And using this, using our iterator, this my iterator, you want to iterate this array, right? So what you will do? You will call our iterator function, my iterator, and to that you will pass the array. Okay, and now what we will do, we will call the next function on this. Let's suppose I call it here itself, next function. Okay, so let's run this code. Okay, it says at line number 6 something is expected. Okay, we made a mistake here in the syntax. Here it has to be a comma. All right, so what you can see, when I pass my array to this iterator and I call its next function, what it returns? It returns you a object. First object is telling, is iteration done? No, because it is false. Done is false, and value it is returned is 1. Right? What is 1? 1 is the first index value. Right? Now if I again call this function, my iterator, right, and using this dot next, it will return you the next value. Okay, I am again passing it, that is why it is giving us 1 only. So what we can do is we can take it in an object. Okay, so what I will do is where x equal to this. Oh, not next, I have to do like this. So x will contain our iterator. Okay, now if we do x dot next, it is returning me done, false, and value comma 1. Now if I again run this, you can see next time it is returning the value 2. Again if I run this x dot next, it will return me the next value. Okay, similarly 4 and similarly 5 as well. Okay, so what we have done, we have just created a iterator, a custom iterator. Okay, so you can use this iterator to do some fancy stuff as well. Let's suppose to each value you want to append something. Okay, you want to append something to each value. Like here, you want to append, let's suppose, what you want to do, you want to append some text. Okay, let's suppose take a vague example of hello. Okay, and I make a change here as well. So I take into x, and then I will call the x dot next function. Okay, now what this iterator will do, let's see. So when I run this, you can see what it is returning. To each value it is appending hello, right? It is appending hello to each value. Now again, if I run this x dot next, right, it will append hello to 2. Okay, so all these stuffs you can do when by creating your custom iterator, right? Just now I have taken one example. Let's suppose you want to append a value to each and every value. Okay, like this string you want to append to each value, right? So if you do by the inbuilt iterator, what they will do, they will simply return you the value, right? But using this custom iterator, you can do such stuff. Okay, so this is the general implementation of a iterator. Okay, so this is about the iterator. And next, what we are left with, we are left with class, their accessors, and the inheritance.
I have one question.
Yep.
Why we don't have function keyword for next? And why we have to have next? Okay.
Okay. So this is what? This is the newer syntax, right? If we see,
It
look
does
at
not
our
even have an
previous class.
arrow.
Yeah, if we look at our last class where I told you regarding a class,
Yeah.
yeah, there we also do not have any function,
Yes.
right? So same thing it is used here.
That was inside a class, and otherwise we had an arrow function. This is a
Yeah,
this is not even an arrow function, right? Because we don't have an arrow here.
yeah, it's a complete definition itself. It is having a complete definition. It has a name,
We
right?
don't need to add a function keyword.
No. So what we will see that even in Angular, you will not be writing a function. You will be writing function keyword. Sorry, you will not be writing a function keyword. You will be directly writing the function name and its definition straight away, because we will be going to use classes only. Okay. So this function is just a JavaScript. Okay. So
But
functions
here
are
we have
more in
not
JavaScript.
written class my
Yeah, that is what I'm telling, that function is mostly used in JavaScript, this function keyword. Okay, so when we will talk about Angular,
Okay.
then we will not be using the function. We will be using classes. Okay.
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah, if you won't be using the function keyword, then was the function keyword compulsory when we were using the giving the example for REST parameter where we have written the function temp?
Here.
Above, yeah, here we wrote function temp too. So is the function keyword a compulsion over there, or it's an option?
Yes, it is compulsion in JavaScript.
So no, now I don't understand. Like, this is an example of JavaScript, or is it an example for AngularJS?
It is an example of ES6 concept.
Sorry, I would just like to add one thing. I think in this case of my iterator, this my iterator is a class. Inside that, next is a function of it. So my here my iterator is not a function as in, I mean, we are, though we are using a keyword function over here, but my iterator is a class here. So that
It's
is why,
acting as a class. It's
yeah,
acting as.
it is acting as a class. So next is a function inside this. So inside a class, we don't have to use the keyword function. So that is why we are not using a keyword function in next. And whereas in the case of spread or other samples, we are using function keyword.
Okay. So if there is a class, like if it's an extended one, like if it's acting like a class, so can there be multiple functions inside it?
Yes, there can be as many functions there can be.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks,
Okay.
Sanjay.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about class now. So class and their accessors. So what we talked about last session regarding the class, that there is a class, how you create a class. There is a keyword called as class. So how you write a class and then name of the class. Let's suppose my class, and then its definition will start. Right now here there can be as many functions, as many properties. Right, there can be a constructor as well. Right, there can be functions. Let's suppose get info function. Right, there can be some properties. Right, this dot name equals some name. Okay, or maybe this task we give it to this. Right, so what is it? It's a class, but only thing is it is having the latest syntax of having a class keyword and having its definition, having a constructor function inside it whose name is constructor. Right, so all this stuff. And then what we talked about is we talk about the accessors. Right, what is an accessor? Accessor is nothing but a get or a set property. Right, so yesterday, day before yesterday, we talk about get and set as well. Right, what were those called as? Those are called as accessors. Okay, if I just say get, right, and here I just print, I print what? I print this dot name. Okay, so this name should be coming from the constructor. Right, and then what we do, we create a new object from my class. Right, so I create let x equals new of my class. All right, and it takes some name. Let's suppose hello. Right, and what we will do, we will write x dot get info. Right, and what we will write, shall we write brackets or not? We should not write brackets, right? Because we are using a accessor. This get is what? This is get is giving you a access to this get info as a property. So you do need not to call it as a function, it becomes a property. Right, so this get and any set is nothing but it is called as a accessors. Okay, so till this we have covered in our previous session. All right, now let's move further and we talk about the inheritance. Okay, so how you can create one more class, right, and that class will extend this class. All right, so what I do is I just remove this and I'll create a meaningful class. Let's suppose I create a vehicle class. All right, and it takes some constructor. All right, and constructor can take parameters like name comma type. All right, and what it does this dot name equals name of the vehicle, this dot type equals type of the vehicle. All right, now what we have another class which basically extend this class. Okay, so you guys are aware of inheritance. What is inheritance? Inheritance is inheriting the properties from a parent class to the child class is called as inheritance, right? So inheritance is a general concept. It's there in every language, right? It is there in real life as well, right? We inherit some properties from our parents, right? We inherit some, let's suppose land or some property, all that stuff from our parents. So what is that? That is nothing but inheritance, right? Whatever is there is with our parents, they will be getting inherited to their child, right? So what we do, we create another class. Let's suppose car class, right? So car class will also have one constructor, okay? And car class can take one parameter. Let's suppose name of the car, right? But what it can do, it can construct an object from the vehicle, right? Now if it want to use the some basic functions from the vehicle, then what it has to do, it has to do the inheritance, right? So how you do inheritance in ES6? By using extends keyword. Class car extends vehicle. Okay, so now JavaScript, or I will say, yeah, ultimately JavaScript is also going to be, so this is becoming more of a Java. If you are from Java background, you will be seeing that all the concepts of Java are coming in JavaScript as well. Okay, so it is using extends keyword, you can inherit a class. Okay, so class car extends vehicle. All right, now when you want to construct this car object, what you can do, you can use the constructor of vehicle, right, by calling the super function. So this super function is also from Java only. Java also uses super. Okay, so what we can do is we can pass name from here, and type we can pass directly as a hard coded value, right? Because car is always going to be a let's suppose a four-wheeler. All right, okay, now what we can do, we can also add one function of its own which belongs to car. Okay, maybe get details function. All right, yeah, we are coming to this. I will tell you about the super function as well. Okay, so what get details function does, it basically prints the details of function, details of the car object. Okay, so which syntax I use? So normal JavaScript, or okay, let's use JavaScript syntax. So it says name of car is what? This dot name, right? Plus type plus this dot type. Okay, now what I will do, I will create an object of this car. Okay, so I create let what car name, maybe Swift, equals new what? Swift is a car, right? I pass name as Swift, and type will be automatically passed from this super function. Okay, now coming to the details. What is this super function? All right, so what happens when you do new of car? New of car will do what? New of car will basically call the constructor function of car class, right? When doing the inheritance, when you create an object of a class, right, you are creating object of car, right, and also you want to do the inheritance, right? Then what you need to do, in the constructor of that particular class, you have to call the super function. So what super function does? Super function basically triggers super function basically, oops. Yeah, super function will basically creates the object of the parent class as well. Okay, how you create a object of parent class or any class? By calling its constructor function, right? So same thing super will do. Super will call its constructor function, right? So this constructor function accepts what? It accepts two parameters, name and type, which I am passing from super function. Name is what I am passing from here while creating the object, and this type I just hard coded from there itself. Okay, so what is the benefit we are getting if we are using this type from here? Okay, and why we are created this vehicle class? This we have created because if tomorrow you want to create a class, similar class to like this, right? If you create a class called as bike, right? Then what you will do? Let's suppose you want to create a class bike, which also extends vehicle, right? Car is also a vehicle, bike is also a vehicle, right? Then from the constructor, what you will do? You will pass super, and then maybe you are taking name from here. You will pass name, comma. You will can directly pass two-wheeler like this. Okay, so our vehicle is a generic class, right? But car and bike are the concrete classes, which are very specific. Okay, so here Swift is the okay. Let me remove the bike, otherwise it will create confusion. So what is Swift? Now Swift is the object of car, right? Swift will get the object of car, but it will also get the properties of vehicle. Okay, it will be able to access this type as well. What happens in inheritance, right? Let's suppose a parent is there which is having some land, a farming land, right? Then they got their son. After their parents, that property or that land will be handed over to whom? To their son, right? So similarly, this name and type properties will be handed over to this car class. Okay, so what I do from here, I call Swift dot get details function. Then you will understand it better. So I just copy this code, and from here I will run this like this, right? You can see name of car is Swift and type is four-wheeler, right? So how are we be able to access this dot name and this dot type here, right? Is there any type exist in this class? The type, this dot type, is there any type present in this class car? No. Is there any this dot name present here in this complete car class? No. But still you are able to access these two properties, name and type, in this class. From where they are coming? They are coming from its parent, because we are inheriting the vehicle class inside the car class. Okay, so that is the benefit of inheriting a class. Okay, you can use the some of the generic functions. You can write some generic function in a vehicle class and you can reuse them, just like this constructor we are using, right? We are not creating any object here, but with the help of this constructor function of vehicle, we are creating an object by calling the super function. Okay, so this is how you do inheritance in JavaScript or ES6. All right. Yeah. So in last, what we have is we have something called as module as well. module I'll not be able to show you right now. Okay, so regarding modules, I can tell you what is a module. So module is something which we are going to cover in Angular. But yeah, for sure I can tell you one thing which you might understand, which is let's suppose there is a class in one file. Okay, so this lib.js is a file which is containing a class. Forget about this export. Just look at this class. Then there is a class name which accepts a parameter, and this class does something. Okay, let's remove this return as well. This class is doing something. Okay, so this is a general class. Accept this export. I'll tell you what is this export. Okay, so you are having a file in which you have written a class having some name and it does something. Okay, also this is not a class, it's not a function. We have to remove this. Okay, all right, so this class might be doing something whatever, just like this class. Okay, it's just like this vehicle class. Okay, this is a class which is doing something. Let's suppose there is some code written in this. All right, now what you want to do is you want to use this class in another file. Okay, this is lib.js which is having a class, but what you want to do, you want to import or you want to use this class in, let's suppose, main.js. This is one more file, main.js. Okay, now whenever you want to use a file, a class which is in different file, right, what you have to do, you have to import that class, right? You have to import this class diag2, right? But to make it exportable, right, so that you can import it here, import in main.js, you have to first tell that this class can be exported. Okay, how you tell it that a class can be exported to other files? By writing a export keyword. Okay, so there is an export keyword. If you append it before any class, what it becomes? It becomes a exportable class. So that means if any other file will import this class, it will be able to import it. Okay, so if we look at in main.js, how will you import it? You will import it by, on the top, by writing import, then in curly braces you write name of the class which you want to import, right? There can be multiple classes present here. There can be, let's suppose, there can be another class diag3. Okay, so both the classes can be exported in from lib.js. But in main.js, what you will write? You will write name of the class, import diag2 from lib. Okay, so what is this lib? This lib is nothing but name of the file. This lib is name of the file. Okay, so however, these are not going to be JS files, these are going to be TS files. Okay, this I will show you in the TypeScript or in the Angular. Okay, how you will import this. All right, but from a basic idea point of view, I am telling you that when you want to export a class, then you write just export keyword in front of the class, it becomes exportable. And when you import the class, you just have to write import name of the class which you want to import from keyword and then path of the file. Okay, let's suppose this lib was somewhere else, some folder, inside some folder. Then what you will do, you will write folder name / lib like this. Okay, so this is the path. All right, and then what you will do, you will be able to use this class diag2. This class you will be able to use in this file.
What does diag2 and function braces kind mean?
This
What's the
is
class
what I can remove this. I think I should remove this. Okay, that doesn't make any sense because it's not a function.
Now
Okay,
we can create an instance of that class, right?
yeah, now what you will be able to do is you will be able to do some stuff using this diag2, just like creating an object of that class, just like extending that class, inheriting that class. All these things you will be able to do. Okay, so this we will see in Angular, but from a basic idea, I just wanted to tell you that how to export a class and how to import a class. Okay, so this is what is mainly necessary to know right now.
But actually, this is nothing but we are inheriting the parent class properties into a child class from a different file. That is the only difference, right?
Not, it's not just for inheritance, but you can actually use that class as well. You can create instance of that class, objects of that class. Even if you do not want to inherit, you can create objects from that class, right?
I think
Like if
it's
I
more
show you,
like creating an API.
yeah, just like API only. Just like if you work in Java and you would know, if you know Java, then what you do on the top of the every Java file, you write something, import java.utils dot something, java.math dot whatever, right? You import the packages in Java, right? Similarly here, you also you import some files. Okay. All right. Yes, Nutan, we do have private and public accessors here as well. We will see them in our upcoming sessions. We do have private, we do have default, we do have public.
Same way we'll have even we have public and private inheritance too.
Inheritance is not that deeper still. Okay.
Okay.
So you need not to go that deep into the inheritance for now.
I mean, just I'm asking if in ECMAScript private and public inheritance is supported.
That I cannot comment right now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So once we will see, we'll come to that. Once we will, we have to first learn what is private and what is default here.
Okay.
Okay. Vikrant, can you, I'm not getting your question. What your question is, which data structure is more efficient when processing OD data? What is OD data here? When processing of data is done with the help of data structure at backend memory required. Sorry, I'm not getting your question, Vikrant. All right. You can just mail me. Yeah, sure. Okay. So like we were talking about modules. So before completing, I can show you this as well. All right. Just like this, you are having an export function square. Okay. So this square is a function which can be exported from a file, which returns what? It just simply returns x multiplied by x, right? Which does the square, right? And this, there will be another file main.js which want to use this square function, right? Then what you will do, you will first import it, right? Import square comma leave this diag from lib, right? What is this lib? Lib is lib.js file, right? And what you will write here, you will write console.log of square, in bracket you have to pass the number, right? So you want to call this function square inside another file main.js, right? So what you have to do, you have to first import it. Okay, just like second function, export function diag, right? Which does what? Which does the square root of this square of x plus square of y and then do its square root. Okay, so same thing it will do. You can call this diag function from main.js file like this. diag in braces, you have to pass the numbers. All right, you are able to access the diag function here because you have imported diag from lib. Okay, all right, and then there is one default export as well, right? Let's suppose there is no name of the function, right? Just like this, in my function.js file there is a function export, there is a function, right? It's an anonymous function. You want to export this, right? Then what you can do is you can write default keyword in front of that function. Okay, when you write default keyword in front of a function, then what it becomes, it becomes the default import for all the files which are importing it. Just like here, if you want to import this function, right, what you will write, import my function from my function. So what is this name? This name is something which will be getting the default function. Okay, but default function can be only one in one file. One file can contain only one default function, not more than one. Okay, just like in Java we have how many public classes per per Java file, right? We have only one. Similarly here we have only one default function. That if you write more than one default functions, then it will throw an error. Okay, yeah, so writing this import my func from my function is nothing but, it is very similar to writing something like you are having a function, right, like this. If you write import my func from, let's suppose file name is also my func. Okay, so if you do this, it is similar to writing my func equals this function, like this. Okay, because then only you will be able to write my function and call it like this, right? You are able to call it like this as shown in the slide, my function like this, right? So writing this line is similar to doing this. Okay, so basically assigning an anonymous function to a variable, same thing which we are doing at line number 15. Okay, yeah, so definitely we have been doing lot of syntax changed, right? All the syntax is new to many of you, right? Yeah, it was new for everyone. So not a problem. What you guys can do is, once this tutorial is uploaded on the dashboard, you can just go through this, right? Just try to do whatever I am doing, right? I am doing the coding, right? The same thing you do side by side, not in the session but after the session. Okay, let's suppose tomorrow it is uploaded, one day we have, right? We have class on Friday. So on Thursday what you do, just go through the recording and start doing whatever I am doing. Just pause the video and write whatever code I have written. Okay, so even more than assignments, I say you do stuff which I am telling. Okay, so if you follow that, that will be much more beneficial. Do everything whatever I do in the session. All right, because for that you have a solution right away. If you write code, you find some error, right? You will compare your code with whatever code I have written, right? And then you will be able to find the problem as well. All right, yeah, yes, so I may not be able to ask, maybe not be able to tell you may not be able to answer all the queries. All right. Yeah, one question we are having from Sanjay from the last session, which he asked to ask me in the starting of the session. Yes, Sanjay, tell me what is the question?
Actually, I have uploaded the query in GitHub. I have shared the link. Just go to
Okay, what is it?
when I use function instead of arrow function, this dot name will it gets the value. I mean, whichever value I'm passing in while creating the object. But in the case of this arrow function, this dot name, I mean, it comes at blank. I mean, there is nothing in that.
Here, line number 21.
Yes, yes. I mean, if I write this dot, I mean, if I just inspected this, so I mean, in this name was blank, and if I write this dot p1 dot name, I get the value. Maybe you can just run it in the console.
This dot name does not have name. Okay, if
Uh,
you do p1 is equal to new person of Sanjay, okay, this dot name will be assigned. After that, what you are doing, where air equal to sing, okay, and then you are having the object dot prefix name. Prefix name is the function in the person prototype, all right, and you have passed that name to it, and then you are trying to print this.
yeah, in this case, Singh, Sanjay, and Singh are not appended. I mean, this dot name is blank. Like, so, if you just if you can run in the console, you'll be able to see it.
Okay, yeah, so this is one thing which you find in this arrow function. Okay, so what you are having here, there is a function,
Yeah,
right? This function is having this dot name, right? What is this pointer?
I mean,
This pointer current
it is
points to the
pointing to the
current
current
object,
object. Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
in this function, you will be able to do like this. You
yes,
will be able to find this,
yeah.
okay? But in this one, you will not be able to get this dot name,
Okay, why is it so?
right? Because using the function, when you are using function, it has its own scope, right? Function is having a scope, right?
Okay,
There's a function scope,
okay,
okay? But here, it's not that actual function. It is not having any function scope,
okay, okay,
okay? So that is why this dot name is not coming for you.
okay. So I mean, okay, in the case of arrow function, okay, I mean, they are different. I mean, we cannot use them interchangeably anywhere. We can anywhere if we want to use. So we have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
choose
No,
wisely.
right, right. So that is why I also prefer this normal function only, because these arrow functions, all these are still in the progress stage. However, these are quite stable.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay, yeah, we are having one more question last. What is that? Yeah, Vikrant, you are telling me to repeat. Repeat what? Vikrant, are you there? I cannot hear you if you are typing something. Last slide. Okay, this one, module. In this one, you want to ask this default export, right? What is default? Okay. So as I was telling, okay, yeah, Namita will come back to you if you are having any doubts. All right. So like I was telling you about these files, right? There is a lib.js, there is main.js. Lib.js is basically exporting the functions, right? So what we have written here, all the functions were the concrete functions or the functions which are having the name. They were not anonymous, right? And there is no default export as such, right? There is no default here, but you can set one of the functions from the complete file, only one function. Okay, so one function can be set to be exported by default. All right, so what you write in front of that function, you can write export default that name, that particular function. Okay, so when you will import it, you will write this myfunc, whatever the name you want to give to this function. Okay, but since it is not having any name, right, you cannot do this stuff which is you are doing here, like import curly braces name of the function, right? Since it is not having a name, you cannot do like this, so you have to give an alias here. So import alias from myfunc, which is the name of the file, right? Now this myfunc is containing this default function. You can directly call it as a function, normal function. All right, is this clear? Right, so there can be only one default function, only one default can be exported, one default function can be exported, not more than one. Okay, yeah, so we'll move on quickly to Namita. What is your question? Okay, Prateek is asking you, what if my function.js has more than one function? If there are more than one function, then you can just export them by writing export keyword. There can be only one default, not more than one.
No, my doubt is actually like there is one default function, that's fine. But if myfunc.js have many other functions, so when importing it, importing myfunc from myfunc, so how will it get to know that this myfunc is the alias for only the default function, not any other?
Because you are not using any curly braces, right? There's no curly
Yeah.
braces here.
Uh-huh.
So this is the alias for the default function which is coming.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So Namita is facing some issue. What is that issue? npm warning, try will try, error last attempt, resource busy or logged. Okay. I've never seen such a scary error. Let me just copy this and we'll Google it only. Let's see what Stack Overflow has to say. Okay. So yeah, is there any anti-malware installed on your system? So a lot of people have faced this issue on Stack Overflow, and everybody is telling that they were having some anti-malware software which was running, and that was stopping it to download. Do you have any maybe anti-malware in software installed or antivirus? There should be any. Just check into your installed softwares. There should be at least one which is running behind the scene. Okay, antivirus is there. Just disable that antivirus for some time and then try this. Okay. Yeah. All right. So what we'll do is we'll stop here and then we'll see you guys on Friday where we will start with TypeScript. All right. So we have 2 dedicated sessions to see the TypeScript syntax as well, so that you will get at least a bit familiar. So these 4 sessions are just like a prerequisites, right? So we are setting a benchmark. We are setting a foundation so that you will not feel a lot awkward while going writing the Angular. While seeing the Angular code, you will be at least a bit familiar. You may not be understanding everything, no problem at all, but at least you are having some fair understanding. All right. All right. So we stop sharing my screen and we'll see you guys on Friday. Bye. Have a good night.